To understand our welfare state today, we must look back to how welfare came about in America. In 12th century Europe, society operated according to the feudal system. The community was split into a series of fiefdoms that had developed localized, hierarchical, communalistic, and traditional social institutions. There was a huge emphasis on conformity with tradition. In medieval society, social problems were addressed through family and peer relationships and mutual obligation. The church also provided food and shelter to anyone who needed help, no questions asked. However, there were still economic and social disparities between noblemen and serfs because there was no upward social mobility for the serfs. As American settlers became more frustrated with the overpowering English king, feudalism was unraveling and ideas of individualism, democracy, and capitalism were being ushered in. The American settlers brought in a new age of capitalism, displacement of serfs, development of new social classes, rise of restrictive notions of proper roles of government, Protestant Reformation, changing conceptions of the meaning of human existence, and enlightenment. However, this new society fostered a suspicion of people in poverty that they didn't work hard enough. Positive policies in this period of transition included mercantilism, the Catholic parishes that collected taxes to help the poor, the Elizabethan Poor Laws, where the government became the chief enforcer of poor relief, and the 1601 Statute of Charitable Uses. Punitive policies of this time included restrictive interpretations of the Elizabethan Poor Laws, the denial of civil liberties to the poor, and people who were considered undeserving poor received punitive indoor relief. The American Revolution was the colonists' way of finally throwing out the old order and defining their new society. War encouraged republicanism, it favored the toil of ordinary people, and people started seeking democracy. However, it had limited effects on social reform. When the framers of the Constitution were writing this document, they were very wary of giving the government too much control. They intended for social policies to be the responsibility of the state and local governments. However, they did include 4 provisions that provided legal rationale for federal social policy. Still, the Constitution halted development of federal social programs because it didn't mention social welfare policies and appeared to restrict the federal government's specific limited powers. The colonists thought they had created a utopia where everyone was taken care of when it actually had incredibly slowed the development of social programs to help the oppressed and vulnerable populations. The strong defense of the central government's role in social welfare that many liberals and social advocates believe in today is relatively recent in American history. We don't really see it until the 1930s when the whole nation was hurting and needed the government to step in.